y'all, it's Betsy from Cuttin Corners Vinyl, and today is one of my favorite videos. We're doing our Patreon kit tutorial. Now, we do these once a month, and this is going to be the February 2022. Now, if you realize last month I accidentally called it February 2022 as well, but this is actually February 2022 because this goes out at the beginning of February, but the SVGs and the designs typically have to do it the month after, so that way you get it and have time to play with it. Now, you can opt, if you sign up for Patreon, to become a kit level supporter where you get the shirt and the vinyl, but there are different levels that you can still get access to the SVGs if you want to. And the lowest form where you get access to the SVGs is $4 a month, which with the amount of SVGs you get, it is a pretty good deal. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the colors and all that fun stuff. So we're going to be using a cantaloupe shirt by Tooltex, and the standard shirt size that comes out with all the kits is a large, but if you need a different size, just message us on Patreon and we will change that for you. You're going to get a sheet of Thermoflex Plus white and black. Now, this goes on at 320 to 330 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds. Then you're going to get some of the Thermoflex fashion patterns, and this is the pastel flowers. You heat this on at 305 degrees for 8 to 10 seconds. Then we have the Pearlflex. I'm not sure if that's, oh yeah, you can see that. This is the Pearlflex Hollow Silver. This goes on at 300 degrees for 8 to 10 seconds. Then we have the Deco Film Paint FX. This is the shade Watermelon, and that goes on for 310 degrees to 330 degrees. And last but certainly not least, this is the Neon Rainbow Green Deco Film Brilliant Chameleon. Now this applies between 300 and 320 degrees for 10 to 17 seconds. So as you can see, there is extra vinyl in this kit because for the month of January and for the month of December, I haven't posted as much as I typically like, so I'm trying to give a little bit extra. Now, we are still working on some things to be able to add, like the Google Drive and all that kind of stuff. I have all the information linked down in the description of where to get the vinyl, all that kind of stuff. So if you'll give me a moment to change the camera angle, I will go over how to make it. As you can see, I'm on my Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/BetsyGocher. It is linked down in the description box. You don't have to join, but this is the way you get the SVGs. So I'm on the post for February 2022 Patreon kit SVGs. Now, this is the kit that goes out at the beginning of February, but the SVGs have to do with March. We like to plan in advance. So as you can see, there are 5 different ones. I'm going to select the Rainbow Lucky, and as you can see, it brought the download up to my downloads menu. Now I'm going to go ahead and minimize out of that. I'm going to go over here to upload in Cricut Design Space. It takes a second. There we go. Now I'm going to go to Upload Image, Browse. So I'll show you all the SVGs. So there's Hot Dang, Leave the Judge into Jesus, Rainbow Lucky, Spring Fever, and Spring Vibes Only. Now I'm going to select the Rainbow Lucky file and click Open. Now I'm going to click Upload Image. There we go. And Add to Canvas. It might take a second because this is a little on the big side. Okie dokie. So this is what it looks like. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to change the size of this to 10.5 inches wide because that's standard pretty much for the front of a shirt. Now we do have to make a little bit of edits to this because of the type of vinyl that I chose. So one thing we need to go ahead and do is we want to select the rainbow green piece and not that one, this slice that goes with that and the green piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and slice that image So that way now the green has the hole in it. Because I am using the Deco film Chameleon in rainbow neon or neon rainbow green, it is see-through. So I have to put the white HTV behind it. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to undo, so that way it's still centered. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that green layer off to the side. So that is done. Now the other two colors do not have to have the white behind it. None of the other colors do. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and now select the white layer that is attached to the pink, and we're going to slice that as well. But again, it kind of depends on how you're wanting to lay this out. It's just, it kind of depends. Now, for this layer and that slice, we're going to go ahead and weld that together because we want it to be one color. Now, I'm going to select that piece again, and I'm going to change it to white because that is going to be white behind it. Now, I want to go ahead and select all of my white pieces. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and weld it together. And I'm going to select those pieces again. And I do want to add a slight bit of an offset to it, which the reason why I'm doing that is it's going to be layered under the, there we go. It's going to be layered under the black. So I want it to have a little bit of give to it, so that way it doesn't have to be lined up perfectly. If you're off a little bit, you're not going to notice. So I'm making it just like that. You can see that that gives it just a tad bit of outline. You can kind of see where those blue lines are. That is the outline. We're going to go ahead and click apply. Now let's go ahead and see what that did. Okay, let's change that weld offset to white. So that's what it's going to look like. Now I'm going to take the weld offset and the regular white layer. Okay. Actually, I want to adjust that. That feels a little bit big for me. So let's go ahead and select undo. And we're going to take and undo the weld offset. We're going to select that white layer again. And we're going to offset it again. But we want it pretty small. Let's do, we don't want it too big. .05, I think that, let's do. Okay, see how close that is now? Let's go a tad bit smaller. Nope, a little bit bigger. And see, that's where you kind of play with it a little bit. There we go. I think that looks good. Okay, that's going to be a little bit easier to line up. And go ahead and click apply. So now for that weld and for the white, we're going to change that all to white, and we're going to weld that together because that's going to be the back layer. Now let's go ahead and go, okay, let's select that, and we're going to put that send to the back. There you go. So now for our black layer, I'm going to go ahead and select all the pieces for the black layer, and we're going to go ahead and weld it to make it a little bit easier. Now on the black layer, everything looks good. The pink layer, everything looks good. See, it's all cut out. Let's undo that move. Now the last thing we need to do is we're going to go ahead and weld the section for the silver are the hollow silver pearl flecks. So now we're going to go ahead and weld those two pieces together. So as you can see, it's set up in our 6-color design. Now we're going to go ahead and click on Make It. And we're going to select on the mat. There we go. Okay, now we do want to go ahead and mirror our design. Now every single piece of this gets cut other than the Chameleon layer, which I cut on glitter. Everything else gets cut on regular heat transfer vinyl settings because they're all just the normal thickness. So now we're going to go ahead and click on Continue. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to choose Everyday Iron On, Normal Pressure, and I'm going to select to remember the material settings, and then whenever I go to cut the green layer, I will change it. So if you give me a moment to change the camera angle, I will show you how to put this together. So as you can see, my shirt is laid out on my heat press. So we're gonna grab the t-shirt guide, there we go, and line it up with the collar of our shirt. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is so that way I make sure things are lined up perfectly, because we're going to stick the white layer on first. I'm going to take and match that up on the back side of the black. So that way we can make sure it's all lined up perfectly. This is more like putting together a puzzle. There we go. So we just make sure everything's pretty much all covered up. Now I do have the heat press set to 330 degrees for this vinyl, because as I said before, all of the different vinyls take different times and temperatures. So now I'm going to fold my design in half, give myself a center mark. That looks pretty good to me. Okay. And then we want to go right about 3 fingers down from the collar. Okay, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the black layer and leave behind the white. And you're going to see now why I added that extra outline around the white, because the more you heat vinyl, it changes shape. Well, it doesn't really change shape. It can stretch, it can shrink, that kind of thing. So we're going to cover it with a Teflon sheet. Now I do have all the supplies as well that you can get off of Amazon in my Amazon cart, or not my Amazon cart, my Amazon store. And remember, if you do use that link, it is an affiliate link, so I got to adjust the pressure back down. Okay, so now we're going to heat this for about 5 to 7 seconds. Typically for when you're doing this many layers, you don't need to heat each vinyl for the full amount of time. You just want to make sure it's stuck, because the longer you heat it, the more it will change shape in the next layers, if that makes sense to you. So it's kind of like when you dry something that's not supposed to be dried. The first time it may shrink a little bit. You dry it again, it may shrink a little bit more, and so on and so forth. So, got to keep adjusting my thing down. And that's part of it too, is like learning the settings. Oh, there we go. I had it adjusted and I forgot to completely adjust it from doing the Sublimation hoodie. You know how it goes. There we go. Now we should be good to go. Yep, we're good to go. Okay, so there's our white layer. And now we're going to do black. But with having that bleed layer on there, that extra outline, it makes lining this up so much easier, because if you're off a little bit, you're not going to be able to tell because it's under that outline. So let's go ahead and put this together. Okay. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, now I'm gonna cover this, but before I stick this down, I'm gonna go ahead and change the temperature on my heat press down to the 300 degrees because remember the other vinyls heat between 305 and 300 degrees. So that way it's ready to go. Because as we stick on the next layers, it will be cooling. There we go. Now let's do our black layer. Again, 5 to 7 seconds. Each time you don't have to, as I said, heat it for the full amount of time. So there we go. It looks so good. Okay. The next layer is going to be our Chameleon, because remember that was one that heats at a higher temperature. There we go. And adding that white behind it really does help to make it show, because if you didn't have that white behind it, it would give it a different color because it is translucent. So if you look, yeah, you see how you can see my hand through it? It will change the color of everything. There we go. There's our Chameleon layer. Okay, next up is the hollow shine layer. And something like this you could easily print as well, but you don't have to. There we go. Now, as you can see, that did change a little bit on me, but you saw how I just kind of pulled that shirt just a hair. And double checking to make sure all my things line up. Everything looks pretty good to me. Okay, now I'm gonna cover again. And we're gonna heat. Again for about 5 to 7 seconds. And then we're getting there. I mean, we've only got a couple of things left to do. Okay. Let's let that cool. Because some things are hot pills, some things are warm pills. And if you just sit there and kind of wait and see what it does, some things are cold pills. Okay. Let's press that one more time. There we go. But you see how I don't just rush and pull things off, especially when you're mixing all these different types of vinyl. It gives you a chance to look and see what's going to work the best. So there is our watermelon layer. Ooh, hot. Okay. Almost there. Okay, I'm gonna heat it one more time. You know, and that's part of it, is sometimes, even if you've been doing this forever, you can have issues too. I do all the time. A lot of times if you see me working in Cricut and you see the same file in there a bunch of times, it's because I have messed it up. It happens. Okie dokie. I think that's going to be good. Yeah, that's going to be good. Just let it cool. I need to get a cooling stone. Let's go ahead and... There we go. Okay. And when you're doing stuff like this, if you do have any issues with like your edges being a little raised, you can reheat that down. I mean, as long as you haven't like completely messed up your vinyl, there is lots of ways to fix issues, just in case you're wondering. That's going well. I love how this looks. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna take our watermelon Paint FX. There we go. Cover. About 5 to 7 seconds. There we go. See how good this looks? And then last but certainly not least is our flower pastel. And see, I think that this is cute for St. Patrick's Day, but I also think it would just be cute to wear at any point because it's not like so overtly St. Patrick's Day. You're gonna love this once you see it done. Now on the prints, those you definitely need to let cool. In between, it definitely helps. Okay. But we'll do one more final pressing after everything's on, just to make sure there's no lines in the vinyl, because whenever you've got these layers of the plastic, let me show you. So if you look at this, how there's where the plastic goes over, it can leave lines on your shirt. So you don't want that to happen. So a lot of times what you do, just it's an easy fix, is just heat over it one more time. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now, another thing I will tell you is when you're doing a shirt that's like this and has so many different types, as far as washing instructions go, you're going to want to wash it with the settings for the one that requires the gentlest wash, if that makes sense. Oh, I need to do that one more time because I didn't bring that all the way on. There we go. Okay. Y'all, look how stinking cute this is. Isn't that adorable? I am in love with it. But I mean, as you can see, there's not where that white and that black meet, there's no gaps. So it really does help whenever you're lining things up. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I post new videos, which is typically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with some bonus content thrown out. We do a live on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're not entered in for the contest, for the giveaway, for the Patreon kits, make sure to watch last week's live, comment, and then you're in the drawing. So I guess that's it. We'll see y'all later. Bye.